You do not correct the man at the dinner table when he assumes your shoes are from a discount rack. You just nod. 10 years ago, you would have told him the price without being asked. 10 years ago, you needed him to know. Tonight you own the building he is standing in, and you feel nothing about telling him so. That gap between what you used to need people to see and what you now let them assume, that is the whole story. And by the end of this, you will understand exactly what filled it. It starts small. It always starts small. You are 26 years old, and your paycheck barely covers rent and a late fee you keep meaning to pay off. You still buy the shoes. Not the cheap ones, the ones with the small logo on the side, the ones a coworker will notice in the break room. You cannot explain, even to yourself, why the logo matters more than the soul. Rule, at the bottom, a purchase is not for your feet. It is for the eyes of whoever is watching. Something shifts. Not in your bank account, in your explanations. You start narrating your purchases before anyone asks. It was on sale. I've wanted this for years. You are building a defense for a verdict nobody has issued yet. Here is the part that should annoy you a little. The people who mock others for showing off almost never ask themselves why they need everyone to know they don't care either. Silence about money is still a statement about money. Sit with that one before you disagree with it in the comments. Your cousin might get a raise the same month you do. He leases a car he cannot afford before his first paycheck clears. You only live once, he says, tapping the hood like it already belongs to him. You say nothing. You go home and check your account for the 4th time that day, not because the number changed, but because checking feels like doing something. A rule for this level: the size of the performance is inversely proportional to the size of the proof. The less you actually have, the louder the announcement has to be. Something shifts. Not in your income, in your audience. You stop needing strangers to notice. You start needing one particular person to notice: a parent who never believed in you, an ex who left when you had nothing. The brands change. The motive does not. A small windfall arrives, a bonus, a good month, a client who finally pays what they owe. Old friends ask what you'll do with it. You already know the answer before the money lands, and the answer is never a repair, never the boring bill, never the thing that would actually help. Is always the visible thing. Rule: money that arrives suddenly gets spent loudly because you have not yet had time to feel safe with it, only to feel proud of it. You are 31 now, and the number in your account has 3 more digits than it used to. This is the dangerous middle, the level where you can finally afford the thing you always wanted people to think you already had. So you buy it. On credit mostly. A watch. A car with a badge everyone recognizes from 30 feet away. You wear it to a dinner where nobody asked, and when a woman across the table glances at your wrist a second too long, something in your chest finally exhales. That exhale is the whole economy of this level. You are not paying a car note. You are paying for that exhale. If you want proof this is universal, watch what happens the next time someone posts a picture of a new watch and read the replies underneath. Half the comments are envy dressed as concern. The other half are people explaining, unprompted, why they don't care about watches. Nobody is neutral about status. Everybody is negotiating with it. And before you keep going, if you want to actually finish this one instead of scrolling off in the next 30 seconds, subscribe now, because the next level is the one that changes everything you think you know about rich people, and you don't want to miss the part where it stops making sense and starts making sense differently. Something shifts. Not in what you buy, in what a purchase costs you emotionally afterward. You used to feel good the moment you bought something. Now the good feeling arrives earlier, before the purchase, in the anticipation of being seen, and it leaves faster, sometime around the 3rd comment on the photo. You are 36. The business is working now, not perfectly, but working. And here is the strange part nobody warns you about. You buy a second watch, a better one, quieter this time, no logo you can see from across a room, and you realize halfway through the purchase that you didn't check whether anyone would notice. You just wanted a watch that told good time. Rule: the purchase stopped being a sentence addressed to someone else. It became a private fact. A woman at your gym compliments your jacket. Old you would have told her the brand, the price, maybe the story of how you got it. New you says, thanks, it's warm, and goes back to your set. She looks slightly disappointed, like you owed her more of a performance. You don't. You are not being modest. You are simply no longer running the calculation of what her reaction is worth to you. This is the level people misunderstand the most. They call it humility. It is not humility. Humility is choosing not to show something you still care, whether people saw. This is different. This is not caring whether they saw it at all. The question itself stopped forming in your head before it could reach your mouth. Something shifts. Not in your wardrobe, in your arguments. You used to argue with people who doubted you. Now you barely register the doubt long enough to argue with it. Mike calls, leasing his fourth car in 6 years, still explaining why this one is the one that will finally prove something. You listen. You do not correct him. You recognize the level he is standing on because you used to stand there too, and you know that no sentence from you will move him off it any faster than time will. There's one more test, and it is quieter than all the others. Someone criticizes a purchase you made, an old truck kept a decade past when you could afford a new one. At the bottom, that comment would have ruined your week. In the middle, it would have sent you shopping for something to prove them wrong. Now you just say, it still runs, and mean it, and feel nothing else underneath the sentence. You are 42. Nobody who meets you today would guess what the accounts actually say. Your car is reliable, not remarkable. Your watch is the quiet one, the one only someone who already knows watches would recognize, and even they would have to look twice. You do not dress down on purpose. You are not performing modesty as a new, more sophisticated brand. You simply stopped asking the question that used to run underneath every purchase. Will this prove something? Because there's nothing left to prove, not to the room, and not to the version of you that used to need the room. Rule, invisibility at the top, is not a strategy. Is what is left over once the need for a verdict disappears. Here is the thing that should unsettle you if you have been honest with yourself through all of this. The shift did not happen because you became a better person, or a wiser one, or a more disciplined one. It happened because the underlying question resolved itself. Once you stop being uncertain whether you have made it, you stop needing anyone's face to confirm it. The confidence was never a decision. It was a symptom of the uncertainty ending. Someone asks you at a dinner casually whether the shoes you're wearing are the expensive ones or the cheap ones. You genuinely don't remember. You had to look down to check. You would have known the price before the question finished. That gap, the one from the very beginning of this, was never modesty. And it was never wisdom. It was the absence of a question that used to run every single time you spent money. Is this enough to prove it? At the bottom, that question is loud. In the middle, it is constant. At the top, it simply stops being asked, and the silence where it used to be is the only inheritance that was ever worth chasing. You go home from that dinner in the same plain car Mike would not be caught in for a single afternoon. You do not think about him. You do not think about the man who assumed your shoes were cheap. You think about nothing at all, which used to be impossible, and which is now, quietly, the whole point.